cards in my profile.
I was expecting you to, like, just to comment you to be voguing. Strike a pose. That's all I know, Vogue. I don't actually know how to do it. I just know this happens. For all I know, I could be communicating with the deaf. I've no idea.
Open the door.
That's it. Welcome back to another episode of the Deductionist podcast, my lords, ladies, gentlemen, and dogs around the world.
We incorporate everyone.
Yeah, we are inclusive in that area. Jennifer's here already. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I can't think of that song now without thinking of Family Guy. There's the bit when I think it's during one of the episodes when Peter's won the lottery or something, so he's making his friends dance, and it's just Joe going, "Good morning, good morning." This way.
As soon as you said it, Phoenix Rising popped up with "Good morning" as well.
Absolutely. Good morning, Phoenix Rising. Good morning. So yes, it has been a minute or two since we've been able to collectively bring you all here. So rather than wait to a less adventurous day, we thought we'd bring it all back on my birth tag, on the day that celebrates. Thank you, thank you. I'm 22 years old today.
22. He's allowed in pubs now. And go for his first.
I'm getting closer to that point, right? Where I've said the same thing for years. The first 40 years of childhood are going to be the best, and I'm dangerously close to having to admit that I'm a grown-up now.
Oh, mate. Okay, we'll figure something out.
Oh yeah, we'll do it.
I'll come up with a formula to stay at one age forever. Just have,
So I'm resplendent in my new Deadpool fleece today, in the middle of summer.
Aren't we?
If that wasn't the smart thing to do. My Moriarty tie on. You know, I thought I'd
together quite well.
I think so. I think so. I've got a pair of Vans on and my shorts on as well. So together, honest, it's a great.
Ease up, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you've paid for. I really want it to be followed by a.
I feel sorry for whoever just tuned in there. Just saw me like my crotch right in the middle. Mick, I am absolutely dying, but it is the sheer principle of the matter that the coat is glorious, and it's awesome, and I wanted to wear it. I did have my my Colin Firth suede jacket ready, but this clearly takes precedence. The
other one's gone in the bin now.
Absolutely. I burnt it in effigy of Colin's awesomeness.
Yeah.
I wore it to a wedding the other day, and everyone's like, "Oh, the jacket's lovely." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." It is just me trying to borrow from Colin Firth's class because I don't really have any of my own.
When you can't bring class, bring Colin Firth. I just bring a copy of Love Actually on DVD.
See, I would go for the Hugh Grant Colin Firth fight in Bridget Jones's Diary. That's the classiest thing I've ever seen. So how you been? It's been a while.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you? You've been on adventures.
I have been on adventures. It was I working in the Netherlands, then working in France, then I got home. And it's just chaos.
Credits.
Well, the thing with and I'll tell you about France in properly in a second.
Recently, you told me about France, and it's wow, what an incredible! That is a good one. That's my new favorite story.
So. The stuff that I was working in the Netherlands on, I'm not going to talk about, can't talk about, not allowed. People will dive out of the crowd and kill me.
Ow.
France was a European Mentalist of the Year competition, right? The only thing is that's the reason we haven't been able to link up so far. Paris was fine, but by the time they get to this other place, it's called Nevers, which is out in the middle of nowhere. the middle of nowhere. So trying to get Wi-Fi signal or 4G signal is like trying to tie Velcro shoelaces in a knot. You know, it ain't gonna happen. So we just kind of thought like, we'll sack it off. We're back in the UK. Let's call it a break, and we'll deal with it from there. And then naturally the whole verdict thing came in, but we'll get to that in a sec. But anyway, so the competition. So I was asked to come over, which is great. There was me, a bunch of other French guys, obviously, and a guy from Spain. Lovely bloke from Spain. His name was Raymond. Absolutely somebody who you could talk to, and you just feel calmer. He had this kind of way about him that was just calm. It was great. But anyway, so I was offered the opportunity to do the routine in French, and I was I could, but it would take me too long to be able to process and think about what I had to say, and the whole routine element was timed. You get 10 minutes, and then you get like a 1-minute warning before you boot it off the stage, and marked down for taking too long. So I figured I'll do it in English. Everybody listening to this knows how fast I talk normally, but it slows right down when it's one of the other languages. So safety first. I was like, get me three people that can speak English, and we'll be sound there. I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll sort you out. So it comes to the backstage element, and all of the because it was split up into two halves. The competition, there was a block of it in the second, a block of it in the first, and the guys that were standing in the first half, we were all stood there like, so what's happening? And the guys backstage were like,
cool. That's
so what's the running order? And they were like, so this guy's first, then you, Ben, then this guy, blah 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 blah. And then it got to it 10 minutes later. So Ben, you're on first.
Oh man,
what?
This is Sherlocked again.
What?
Over. Why don't we told you?
Exactly. So I was like, okay, fair enough. And so I go out and I start the routine, and I'm talking to the audience, and I'm getting a few laughs. Now, bear in mind, I'm told that the people on stage as my spectators, they speak English. I'm told that the people in the audience don't. So I'm saying things and I'm getting laughs, and you know what I'm talking about, or are you just laughing at the fact that I'm English? Is that what's happening right now? So I then start, and I'm talking to there's three guys on stage. I'm doing what's called a chair test, but it's all around a murder mystery. So I'm sat there breaking it down in terms of like it's based on this game that I made when I genuinely made that when I was a kid, so I could practice this kind of thing. So I'm talking it set up, patter, and I'm just getting these reactions.
Oh no!
Like,
just get one of those moments where you're like, is this? Oh dear! Where do we go from here?
It was like if it was a cartoon. I mean, like it's nothing against anyone's intellect or anything like that, because it can't be. It's a language barrier. But if it was a cartoon, it would have been one of those moments where like a fly flies into the ear and then out of the other one. That's the kind of reaction that was happening. And bear in mind, I've got to read these people. I've got to try and psychologically nudge them into doing things. I've got to force them into picking particular things.
It's that near that we find out they're a cardboard cutout. Oh,
they might as well have been. They might as well have been. And you're like, so I ploughed on anyway. In my head, I'm thinking this is awful, but you do the whole your performance, smile, you get on with it. Great.
Oh, feck.
Yeah. So by the end of it, I just doing the reveal, telling them what was happening, and then leaving. Just left. I was mate.
Your losses there, isn't it? With the props you've been given.
Like at that stage, I'm already sweating far too much because I'm in my my 3/4 length jacket. I've got my tie on. I've already been accused of looking like a vampire twice.
Oh God.
So they're not really endearing themselves to me.
This would have been a good thing to talk about had this happened before that podcast where we were talking about, when stuff goes awry on stage sometimes, when life just happens and you just have to play jazz with it, don't you?
you just like there's nothing else you can do. Like I'm always reminded of it's an obscure reference, but it's a Hillary Clinton gif when she's getting onto a plane, but there's no kind of words to it or anything, but she's just doing this. And it's really like that, because what else are you going to do? What else is going to happen? And then we had to. Oh, mate, we had to go through the gala show as well. Now, I don't know if it was just a cultural thing or that they were performing on a plane of existence to which I am not party to.
I think you saw Into the Multiverse again, and you didn't realise. 3D.
Like, just to kind of qualify it, because I can understand what they're saying, so I know what they're talking about. Maddie hasn't the foggiest what they're talking about. But there was this one woman, she's coming out doing a few tricks and a few productions and a few pieces of manipulation, which, if you're unfamiliar with the term manipulation in magic, is when the people that go card, fans of cards, more cards, and then a ball, and then balls between your fingers, and then some more, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not that kind of show. That was maybe for the... anyway. So she had this giant bird's nest looking thing on her head. And
good Lord.
When I say it was giant, I mean it was like she was wearing one of my hats. It buried her. It buried her. But it's pointing upside down, and she's just pulling out these silks, shaking them, glitter's coming out, and then people start standing up and applauding, and me and Maddie are like, has somebody just fed us LSD? Like, what is happening right now? What's happening?
It sounds like going on at one of these, like a Takeshi's Castle type game show, where it's just pure randomness injected in.
Absolutely.
This is the Eurovision of gala shows.
The only thing it was missing was Craig Charles giggling over a microphone. That's really it. The compare, right? The compare was like a French David Williamson, and if you don't know David Williamson, he's a comedy sleight of hand magician who is hilarious. If you are of the inclination to do so, I encourage anybody to watch any of his videos, because he is hilarious. Okay. And the compare is like trying to be a French version of him. Similar routines with the raccoon puppet that's basically a spring, and it's made to look like it's doing all kinds of things. That kind of element. And he does this routine that I've only known to be called Midas coins. Penn and Teller do a similar version when they do the goldfish one, but theirs is better because the goldfish bowl is see-through. The normal way of doing it is it's like this tin bucket. You've got a whole clump of coins in your left hand that you're using to hold the bucket, and you're just kind of like plucking coins out, popping them in, dropping one out of your other hand, so you're using the sound effect so you can keep going over and over again. It makes it look like you're pulling out loads of coins. So this guy, he's got a kid up on stage, and it's all funny because he's reaching under his hat, and he's reaching under his arm, and then he's reaching up his nose and whatnot. And then he makes the kid put one leg in the air, and he reaches between the kid's legs to pull out this coin and put it in. And me and Maddie were like,
followed quickly by police sirens coming in.
What is happening? What is happening? And everyone's like, bro.
Next minute, I see you in a court. I had no idea what was going on. Ben Cardle handcuffed.
Third Eye Moon Fun Tarot readings. Hello, love your videos. Trying to connect to this like 12 times because I was so excited to see you live. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. It's lovely to see you. Sort of. lovely that you're here. Jennifer's thoughts on the matter. Glitter is shiny.
Fact of the day.
It is. We will get into the exact purpose for the stream, guys. Obviously, everybody's still talking about the trial and the verdict, but this is just kind of catching up in terms of where we were. So yeah, it was a weird couple of weeks because it's like Netherlands is enshrouded in secrecy and security and all of these other kind of things, and then you come to an acid convention, and
an artist playground with drugs.
Oh,
very like going to, I suppose, being interrogated by the FBI, followed by being converted into a hippie camp. Very. Very different.
This is why I say, like when I got back and went to see my folks, how was France? You go, it was an experience. It was an experience.
As you fade out. Whoa.
It was like one of those moments. I think it's called a Vortex edit. When the camera zooms into somebody, but you press zoom out, so it kind of looks like the background's warping a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, it kind of felt like one of those moments. How was France?
I'll describe it as emotion.
Yeah, it was time that I spent in a place. That's what it was.
Just a picture of Jack Sparrow doing it.
Nice segue. Anyway, so let's do it. Let's shoot the proverbial elephant in the room. Let's, I don't know, somewhat a metaphor or something like that.
Let's take it to court and.
Yeah. But it's circling back to something else that's happening on my birthday. Both me and Maddie have to go to the hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maddie's got an X-ray because she's been having some breathing problems. Suspected kind of long COVID sort of thing, but he's trying to find out exactly what it is. Me, I'm going for an X-ray because I had a flare-up with my kidney stones I told you about just before. Just before the Netherlands. So I'm going basically to check to see if I've got any left.
Kidneys or kidney stones?
Either or. Jennifer knows what's up. You guys know how to party. Yeah, we do. It's all the, what was it? What's the line? It's all peanut butter, ball gags, and clown porn. That's all it is. Just to qualify for my kids who are over there listening, that's a line from Deadpool. I'm not just admitting something weird, right? That's a line from the film. So,
you're shaking their head.
They're already writing up emancipation papers so they can just kind of free themselves of my tyranny. What did you think of the trial verdict?
I think it was one of those moments where catharsis was finally brought down upon the whole situation. I think, in a way, we kind of drew back from it as soon as the verdict came in, and you saw on all social media platforms everybody sort of like, oh, now is the time for it all to speak up and stuff like that. And I don't know really, it feels like it's all getting all mixed in with this kind of is it going to go too far now? Is it being blown out of proportion? I don't really know how I feel about it. I think as a court case itself, fantastic. He got what he wanted, but then there's all these other factors of how the world has responded to this, because it's quite a bizarre situation. It's almost like a new film done well. No, this was a court trial.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Yeah. But there was one of those things that went round that was like, who would you cast in the drama to play this? And you were thinking, like, when it comes to the roles, nobody's going to want to play Amber. Nobody.
Yeah.
A few people might consider playing Johnny. Nobody's going to want to play the judge. Everybody will want to play Camille Vasquez.
Yes, they will.
Everybody.
Yeah. She's the main character of this piece. She's the winner.
Absolutely. But there's the whole thing that annoyed me. Really annoyed me that kind of fell out from her supporters, which they're going to be indignant about the fact that she lost. Fair enough. Cool. Losers are indignant about it, and I'm not saying that in a malicious kind of loser, but you lost, so you are a loser in that scenario. Yeah. The whole kind of, well, this is going to set a precedent for when victims speak up so that powerful white males can get away with it. And what are you even talking about?
Missed the point entirely then, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's supposed to be the fact that it's not about male or female. It's supposed to be
Precisely.
equality here.
Precisely.
A lot of people said, like, yeah, they are equally. I imagine they've equally done bad things in this scenario. But the fact of the matter is, this court case is about the bad things she has said that have cost him quite dearly. And if this was someone else's situation, you'd be rooting for them as well. It doesn't have to be Johnny Depp. It could be any other man who's in this situation who's lost a lot. But the fact that it is Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, it creates a whole new world, doesn't it? Because there's so many other people involved. Like you say, sides. This thing has sides to it. And
it does.
The big influencer, I feel, are the people around them, not necessarily them themselves and what's going on. I'd be interested to see how many people sort of like actually looked at the whole situation as if they imagine it as just two normal people going at each other and trying to figure out what's going on. Instead, it turned into a bit of a kind of like get her out of Aquaman 2 and get him in Pirates 6 kind of.
And it's not about that.
Right. Yeah.
No. Although, if I may just jump in, keep going in a second. I saw my favourite petition of the whole thing today. It was a campaign that's just hit 2 million signatures to replace Amber in Aquaman 2 with Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
Yeah, make that anyway. Forget about all of this fallout. Make that anyway.
Yeah, screw the rest of it.
But yeah, you're dead right, because there's all of these campaigns now. We should just believe women. Why? That's kind of what it's all about. In the fact that there was, if you look at it on the surface, I don't know how specifically how it works with American juries, but in the UK, when you're going through trials of this magnitude, your jury duty is in a bubble. You're secluded from news, from influence, from social media, from events, from newspapers, from anything. So your opinion is formulated precisely on the evidence and the information that is presented within the courtroom. I imagine it would be something similar in America, but I don't know if it is that they follow those same kind of properties. What the hell is this whole smear campaign, or alleged smear campaign, got to do with anything? What the hell has our position here got to do with anything, or any of the people outside that are commenting on it? Nothing.
As you said, about emotional standpoints in these things, something like it'll clear the ability to see reasoning. Yeah. One of the famous quotes is that, but that's the big thing here. There's just so much kind of like the backlash of him winning now, and like you say, Amber Heard's side coming out with all this stuff, and it's just like, oh god, people are going to miss this opportunity to see that we may have a level playing field in terms of looking at things like this now, and it may be a massive improvement on the system if we let it be. But like you say, there's going to be, they've already started, haven't they? Like the people that you don't call losers, but you want to say that they've not necessarily seen the big picture here of what's going on. Yeah, and that would be a shame. That would be a real shame if this just ends up a circus that has become a HBO Max film at some point.
Like part of me now wants Johnny to say, "Don't worry about the 15 mil because she can't pay it." Part of me to say, "Don't worry about that. Let's just move on."
Yeah, let's just go.
I mean, I don't think her narcissism will allow that. But like, it's madness. It's absolutely madness. Like the whole. I mean, it becomes really transparent when you look at where Amber's connections to the media are in terms of how it's being covered, right?
Yeah.
There was an article that I think it was in the Telegraph. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I think it was in the Telegraph. It was in the last video I did on the topic, where they were talking about her supporters, and it was something like celebrity elite or A-list or something like this, such as Kathy Griffin, and Rachel Riley.
Oh God, yeah.
And you're like,
Rachel Riley. But within
the next sentence went to talk about some of Johnny Depp's supporters, like Javier Bardem, Winona Ryder, Penelope Cruz, and like just such a flagrant attempt to try and push up her supporters. Not that elitism or the nature of celebrity has anything to do with it, but just where the kind of language of these newspapers are trying to coerce opinion, are trying to influence opinion. But like
it's like selling a film, isn't it? This is the poster. These are the big names on it. Use these to move forward and sort of like make a point for yourself, which wasn't what it was about.
My take has been that if I'm obsessively recording to get pertinent footage, Jodi Arias took video of all the wrong things.
Yeah.
That woman was a frigging lunatic, absolute lunatic. If you're, I mean, are you familiar with Jodi Arias?
Well, the stuff that she put forward, yeah.
Okay. So, long story short, for those who aren't, she was basically a woman that brutally, and I mean brutally, murdered her boyfriend, and basically thought that she was that pretty and that engaging that she could give her own evidence on the stand and then get away with it. As a result, and there seems to be a consensus of people going, reflections, so what we'll do is we'll have a quick look at the some of the footage from the last part of this case. We'll talk about it, and then I don't know about you, dude, but I would like very much not to talk about this case.
There'd be a nice conclusion to it, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Right, so that's there. Let's go to us in the full screen. Boom. And so we can already see the ads are up in 3 seconds. Now, just for the sake of the people who are tuning in from last time, this will kind of start from the exact point where I stopped it last time. So this is the kind of cross-examine. This is Vasquez's owning of Heard, where she absolutely ruined the appearance. So we're just going to break this down a little bit and give it a kind of a roundup and such and whatnot.
With Johnny, and I knew I needed to change that. I knew.
So, you want to prepare meals that your whole family will enjoy?
Like
absolutely
it was
not. I want to order the many takeaways. That's what I want to do. So I'm very conscious of the sound now. So because there was a couple of people commenting that some of the videos were like ear torture, which is a bit excessive, but fair enough. I have pushed our volume to match completely in terms of the decibels and the sounds from my side. So if it's still coming out weirdly your side, then that's something to do with your settings. I don't know. Anyway, here we go.
This point, horrible for me. And I talk to my therapist often about that.
Defendant's Exhibit 371 as redacted with just Ms. Heard's messages.
All right. Your Honor, I object because she has left out the next 2 lines from Ms. Heard that clarify even further, and I also think
Ms.
that Dr. Cowan's...
Your Honor, may we please approach? This is...
I see. I think that's why Vasquez has been so kind of amiable and likable in terms of the trial from our standpoint as viewing, because she's just done with their shit.
Yeah, Barbie or whatever she's moaning about. Like it's so ridiculous, isn't it, that they're still clawing at stupid little tactics to kind of like throw the whole thing off. Like you say, just go with it. Just go with it.
Just crack on. Stop. Yeah. Obviously, part of me wants to now look as well, because apparently Miss Brederhoft. Have you watched any of the Aussie Man reviews of the trial?
No, but I've heard good things.
But he calls her, as in Amber Heard's lawyer, he calls her mum's friend. So mum's friend has been on the news today, kind of speaking out about the trial. So part of me thinks that we should review that next. In terms of dealings. Anyway, let's do a bit more. Oh no, this is going to be the silence because they're going to talk about stuff now.
Redacted over objection. Yes, ma'am.
If you can publish that to the jury, thank you.
I'll just let this go as well. Jennifer mentioning that she thinks the proven false accusations of physical or sexual abuse should come with criminal and financial penalties. It's life-altering, even when you didn't do a thing. Completely agree. Completely agree. Completely agree. That information won't go away now. Rightly or wrongly, that will be attached to him forever.
Yeah, it's stick.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
No, Miss Heard, that's not my question. The text. Just the text.
That's exactly what I was saying.
What you texted. Clearly, I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Heard, you contend?
Your Honor, just for clarification, so those two next lines did come in?
They are in the redacted copy.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Ms. Heard, you contend that there's another incident of abuse in March of 2015 after you and Mr. Depp returned from Australia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And this incident took place on March 23rd, 2015?
That's correct.
And this supposedly...
Right, knowing what I know about your insights into reading people, right, you can be more objective about this than I can, just because of time spent within it, right? What do you make of her constant looks towards the jury? What do you make of that? So if I'm over here, you're the jury in this scenario, and I'm having a question, I'm going, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. And precisely, what do you make of that? How does that come towards your understanding of her as an
kind of
entity?
like sort of pleading to them, as if saying to when a child's being told off or something like that, and they're trying to reach for some sort of, agree with me, agree that I didn't do it, look into the other children, say that I didn't do it, I didn't do it, that kind of thing. Like, you should be able to prove your own case without the whole point of the jury is they're observing that. You're not using them to prove your own point, are you? Like, it's just, if you're nodding at people, it's a bit like manipulative, isn't it? Like,
It is. And I completely agree, right? I completely agree. So I wanted your unfettered, unencumbered opinion on that as well, right? Because that's precisely how it reads in terms of a tactical perspective, in terms of why she keeps doing it. I likened it to somebody that doesn't really know how to be manipulative, but your arrogance keeps you going anyway. You've sat through some of the trainings in our previous place of employment that would tell you to, make sure you're smiling and eye contact and use of somebody's name. But it would be like me saying, so Adam, what do you think of this? And Adam with the points on the TV. So Adam, if you just have a look, and you get sick of the sound. Exactly. You get sick of the sound of your own name and just want them to shut up and go away. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip it on just a little bit. Just till past this evidence point. There we go. And just to say as well, it's popped into my head with you mentioning that they are both essentially guilty of things, argue within the relationship together. Right?
Yeah.
Not the accusations that were made, because I think that's very clearly stated that one person in specific, Johnny, is not guilty of these kinds of things, right? Now, I'm not going to name any names, but in a previous relationship years ago, when I was hit, right, my gums and my mouth were bleeding. So what I chose to do was to spit blood in their face.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at that on the surface, that is horrendous. Both sides of it. It's horrendous. If you look at them as both isolated incidents, that is horrendous on the surface, right? So when you're looking at these types of things, they are both really bad, right? For him to be writing stuff on the wall in blood and whatnot and smashing a cupboard, drinking tons, it's bad. And by his own admission, that's bad.
But you don't know the surrounding elements that come with that out of context. Yeah.
Exactly. When it comes to allegations that if it reverted back to that situation where she came out and said that I'd hit her as a result, quite frankly, if I hit anyone of that size, you'd have been crumbled into dust. To be honest, as a side note, but if that had happened, then this is the same thing that's coming out within that moment, right? Yeah. I did an horrendous thing, but it is completely different to the allegations that are happening, and that's the point. That's the point. He's chosen to vent in a way that only he is capable of venting, that actively avoids violence at any cost. At any cost. Anyway, let's keep it going. Let's try and get to some juicy Vasquez stuff.
This is a picture of you with what appears to be straight red marks on your arms, correct?
Those are scars from the broken glass.
And they're straight and red, right?
I disagree with how you characterize that, but they are red, yes.
And they're on your left arm?
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Heard, you have a history of cutting yourself, don't you?
I do not.
You cut your arm once as a teenager, isn't that right?
No, I said I wanted to. When I was put on birth control pills when I was a teenager, I felt crazy, and I said I felt suicidal.
So it's your testimony under oath that you didn't report to Dr. Hughes, your retained psychologist, that you had cut yourself as a teenager once?
I said I had told my mom that I wanted to when I was a teenager.
Oh, God.
Ms. Heard, we heard some testimony from you yesterday about a trip you and Mr. Depp took on a train in Southeast Asia. Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
Why does she keep doing that now? It's become even more annoying than it looks.
Right. It's like she's got a little Post-it note on the front of the screen just to remind her. But if you look, rather than get into the whole science of it, I'm an advocate for reading a person thermodynamically, as in how they choose to move their energy, not in a spiritual form of energy, but how they move their own kind of energy, what they're capable of doing. Like me and you could move in the same way, think emotionally about the same thing, given the same initial stimuli, but if I'm tired and you aren't, we will do it in very different ways, So that's what I mean about the energy levels. You can see from the crease, you won't be able to see it in my jacket, but you can see from the creases when she's pressing her arms down in terms of tension, actively impeding her own breath. It's a sign of inhibition, a sign of control. Match that with how forcefully she is biting her lips, pushing them together, rolling it around, and the like. It's fully controlling what it is that you're trying to say. So there's a lot of moderation of what she's saying regarding the whole cutting herself incident and the reporting, which, if we were being devil's advocate, could be because that was a very personal time in her life, and it's a very strong accusation to make about somebody that did cut themselves, and it's very raw, not the wound, as in psychologically. Fair enough, you'd have a lot of thoughts about that. But there would be outward reflections in terms of your emotional state. There's none of that here. So that's nothing but modification.
Right, yeah. Narrative.
Sorry, that was like a 3,000-word sentence. I apologize. No wonder the people in France had such a hard time with me.
Oh, man. But it is...
Oh. Sorry, 1 second. I accidentally clicked on a comment. Oh God, where's it all gone? Oh God.
On again. Seen it.
Let me just come back for a sec so I can find out where we are. It was Jennifer's comment that's kind of put me off, which is bloody brilliant. There it is.
I might have to use that.
Oh, that's just great, isn't it?
Feeling.
Well, could you read it out while I set this back up?
So Jennifer said, if I had to put up with what I heard and said from her, she'd have likely ended up with a funny smell in the basement, which is just genius.
And let's a public service announcement from the Deductionist podcast. In no way are we condoning the ritualistic murder of people of this nature, but just saying. Ines has just joined us.
Hello.
Guten Tag. Wie geht's? From Germany. So, right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
That was when you and Mr. Depp went on your honeymoon trip, correct?
That's correct.
And that was in July of 2015?
Yes, that sounds right.
Let's take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 162, which is already in evidence. You were here in this courtroom, right, Ms. Heard, when Malcolm Connolly testified to taking this picture?
That's correct.
This is the picture. This picture shows an injury to Mr. Depp's face, doesn't it?
I disagree. I've seen this picture.
Okay, Ms. Heard,
I've seen
I got
this picture
the answer. Thank
before,
you.
and
You disagree?
he's not injured in it.
He's not injured in this picture.
The crazy loophole where you just do 4 hours of work and it generates a new...
Aren't you sick of those adverts by now?
As sick as I am of her little nods to the jury. That's what they are.
Oh, my God. But again, I like the fact when Vasquez, like, politely, professionally, I'll jump in and go, Miss Heard, shut up. I've got my Miss Heard. Nobody cares. Shut your mouth. I've got your answer. But a professional lawyer version of that. A professional lawyer version. Third eye moon fun tarot readings. That's like a tongue twister. That's making a good point. I love when the real AH comes through. Absolutely, and we're starting to see that now more and more. The narcissism, the ego, rearing its head. Right?
Just see the director come around it. Yes, that's what I want, Amber. more.
There was I didn't catch the lady's name because I've only seen bits and bobs of the video, but there was the acting coach that came in to talk about Miss Heard. I went through a hippie tarot phase. Oh no, like I'm not kind of having a pop at tarot readings at all. It's just third eye moon fun tarot readings is just difficult to say. that was all. So the acting coach said that Amber struggled to cry when she was acting, and there was the initial discussion about the one of her psychologists or psychiatrists or whoever it was stating that she was crying when she came into the office, which she also did when she was on drugs. And the point is that this is part of the evidence that's working against her in terms of her story, in terms of the information that she's communicating. If you've got one of your own witnesses testifying that you can't cry when you're acting, and all of the time she's taken the stand doing the crying noises and not a tear was seen, her face was drier than the Sahara, it's going to be as empty as her CV from now on, right?
It's empty as her CV.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. It is. I don't think Johnny will work for a while either in acting for the same reasons. For the same reasons. But what was that? Sorry, mate. I was talking over you.
I think he'll know to step back now.
Yes.
I think a little. Well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But the point I was making is that acting coach has inadvertently shown the jury that this is nonsense.
Yeah.
The performance, I mean, is nonsense. Nonsense. Yeah. Third eye moon fun tarot reading stating, I think actors use tear sticks. Absolutely, they do. They are called tear sticks, and if you don't know what they're basically menthol, but as a lipstick shape. I used to do it when as part of my geek stunts show from years ago. You know, when you swallow thread and pull it out of your eye, hammer a nail up your nose, and all that kind of stuff. When just call me T. Cool. I'm going to call you T. So the tear sticks themselves, it's like wiping Airwaves chewing gum under your eyes. And so I'd done that, and I got some blood powder under my eyes, so that when my eyes watered, it looked like I was crying blood, because the water would mix with the powder and red would start to smear down my face.
Yeah.
You saw that actually. We did it in the first series of the deductionist during the Ouija board thing. Yeah. I mean, sorry, giving away tricks, that I actually cried blood. No. Right?
No, Ben, no.
But this is something else that forensic examiners should have caught. I don't know if they did catch or not, and we just haven't seen the evidence, being members of the ignorant public. But if you look at all of the photos of her, in terms of these bruises and marks that she had on her face, never mind the fact that in the first part of this video there was the discussion about Johnny hitting her with rings on, leaving these tiny little scars and scratches. Physically speaking, not possible. The pressure per square inch on a face would do much more damage than that. Anyway, so if you look at the fact that these are both right-handed people, for marks to be on that side of Amber's face, Johnny has to give it like a 15th century jewel offering.
Backhand, the old backhand, yeah.
This way round. And a couple of times when she was talking about how she was pinned down on the counter, she was pulling back her right hand as if to imitate that's what came up with. So your bruises, they don't add up. His do. His do. Yeah, and absolutely. There was, in one of the earlier videos, because videos, that's not even English.
Videos. Get down to
Get down to video. In one of the, she referred to her makeup kit as a bruise kit, and then panicked. It's like I used it to cover up my bruise. Oh God. Never mind the fact that the company stated that they weren't out at that time, so you couldn't have been using them. But it came out that Amber's got some kind of qualification in industry makeup and movie makeup and the like. Do you want to know what industry people call the kits that they use to apply bruises? They call it a bruise kit.
Which shines even bigger light on her little bit of
right
up there. Oh dear.
You kind of go, okay, Miss Heard supporters, what else you got? Right? What else you got?
I'm assuming this was when they were saying she was throwing out her own evidence against it at that point. She was kind of just doing the trial for herself.
Absolutely.
She was a second lawyer.
Yeah. Again, T making a good point as well, right? I think the reason that this has resonated so much with the public is everyone has known an Amber. An Amber.
Yeah. It'll be the new Karen. It'll be the Amber.
Absolutely.
Amber.
God.
They'll merge.
Have you really hit peak status when you kind of devolve into a caricature? Is that what happens? Jesus.
You made it in the courtroom.
Let's do a little bit more on this bruise.
Testimony. Fine.
This one is Photoshop.
Ms. Heard, I have your answer. Thank you. This is the only photograph from our honeymoon that shows someone with an injury, correct?
That's not true.
We haven't seen any photos of injuries to your face from that train trip, have we?
I don't believe my face was injured on that trip.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 91A at page 46, going back to the Love Journal. This is a note from you to Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
This is a note you wrote on July 22nd, 2015.
That is correct.
And it starts off with the words, "My husband, happy honeymoon," right?
That's correct.
Ms. Heard, please take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A at page 67.
Wow.
What is that?
This is another note from you to Mr. Depp in your journal, right?
That is.
Now, Jesus.
Bloody hell.
Right? Now, I've gone on record like it was a serious record. I've said that graphology as a readable personality insight doesn't hold water. It holds about as much truth as phrenology, which, if you don't know what phrenology is, for anyone listening, it's reading a character and personality inferences and future and all that kind of stuff from feeling bumps on your head.
Yeah.
So that holds about as much water but a forensic graphologist would have so much fun with this. Like, that's her personality disorder there.
Yeah.
Written for all to see. For all to see.
Like it was written by James McAvoy's character in Split.
Exactly, right? You have. I mean, I'm saying this like I know, but you have a style of handwriting that would identify it as yours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you held the pen in some kind of different way, like if you went from holding it like this to holding it like this, which I've seen some people do, then it would look moderately different, but still hold some of the form of the original author. Right?
Yeah.
Look at this. This is distinctly different, but from the same pen and whatnot. Yeah. It looks to be a fountain pen based on all the smudges and whatnot. So you've really got to be careful. In Jennifer pointing out sometimes that schizophrenics have interesting handwriting. They do. But if you look at to have that kind of distinctly different control, with there being no leaks as to the author between the styles, other than the kind of pen that was used, that's insightful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just between each one as well, between like such small sentences as well. Like, fair enough if it's halfway down and she changes that style, but to literally just it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
How is this? Like, wow.
Well, like, and
especially from the first page as well. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Again, totally. Even the is that called cursive, or when they're kind of off to the side? I don't know what it's called, but the kind of posh-looking style of handwriting that people do normally calligraphy kind of work with.
Yeah.
You know, to have that kind of control enough to stop, change position, and write in two distinctly different styles. Yeah. It's.
I mean, that's enough. How she's written enough.
Yeah.
Is even strange compared to the other like changes in her style as she goes down.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And her face seems to have lit up now. It seems to have sort of like gone from a broken sort of a solidified kind of expression to suddenly she's awoken.
The only time that we've seen a real expression on her face is when the verdict was given.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only time time we've seen it. And it's crackers, mate. It's crackers.
Yeah. Madness.
So let's go a bit more. Let's find some more of Vasquez. Oh, yeah, that's a good one of Amber. A couple of photos. There we go. Oh, ads in 5 seconds, of course. I wonder what 4-day week we're going to have to listen to about this time.
What evidence can publish?
Better be some M&S food.
The new best way to make money online that nobody's talking about is something you've never heard of before. It's
nobody's heard of Audible. Nobody.
If we could please zoom in, Tom, on Ms. Heard's face. It's your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you were wearing makeup for this photo shoot?
That is correct. It's a photo shoot.
Okay. If we could please pull up Exhibit 102. Ms. Heard, is this another picture from the photo shoot?
I can't exactly tell from the background. It looks like the same thing, but I can't really tell without it being zoomed out.
This is a picture of you, though, right?
It is a picture of me, yes.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
This is what I mean about modification, where you can tell the modification that she's choosing to go through up here that's leaking out within her body, right? How long has it been now since we've worked for that place together? Maybe 6, 7 years? Is it something like that?
Something along those lines now.
Okay, so if somebody showed you a picture from house, the office, right, and it was just the little corner where the safe was, would you be able to recognize that? As being from house.
Yeah, yeah.
If somebody was to show you a picture of where the safe was, just the safe, in every single office in that building, would you be able to separate each one?
Yeah, probably.
Exactly, probably. You know, right? There's the confidence of knowing that information's there. You don't have to modify it. It's just, yeah, well, I've been there. Surely I could figure it out. You know, this is here how she's immediately jumping towards exclusions. To the best of my knowledge, I don't exactly know. I can't quite remember. Yeah. This is how this information starts to leak out when you compare it with what is an authentic speech pattern. Yeah, which we have seen at times, so we get good markers for when she is being authentic, when she's talking about her family and these kinds of things, because that part's irrefutable.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So it's just
it's when she's sort of like she's very confirming when they bring up stuff like, oh, what's going on here, and yes, it's a photo shoot, and she's got that, you know, edge of an attitude on her, so she clearly knows immediately where that is and how to respond. She knows so confidently what they're going to ask in that photo that she's already sort of got the sarcastic kind of response to it that is followed. Yeah. Then she falls into lines of like, I think I recall, I'm not too sure. I was like, she's clearly very sharp. Not sharp enough, obviously, with some of the problems that I've encountered during this case, but she would know.
Yeah. Narcissists have to be. They have to be sharp in order to do what they do. They have to be.
Yeah. I would have my money on that she knows exactly what photo they're showing her.
As would I, because there would be no need, behavioural, anthropomorphized evolutionary reason for her to be moving in the way that she is and speaking in the idiolect that she is. I'm just going to whack it on a little bit towards the end, just to see if we can get something else.
Your confidential schedule to the fifth witness statement that accompanied the fifth witness statement in the UK. Ms. Redhoff, may I approach?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Get on with it, team. Come on. Here we go.
Papers out.
In the confidential schedule to your fifth witness statement, paragraph 1 on page 21, you describe Mr. Depp sexually assaulting you in the Bahamas of December 2015, right?
That is correct.
And that's the first time you ever claimed that Mr. Depp had sexually assaulted you in the Bahamas.
That is incorrect.
You only submitted the confidential schedule in the UK claiming Mr. Depp had sexually assaulted you after Miss Roberts had said that she saw you on the island chasing, clawing at Mr. Depp. Isn't that correct?
That is incorrect.
You could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 394. So, Your Honor, this is another recording I can represent to the court. This only contains Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's voices. I'm going to move to admit the entire recording. I'm only going to play from 1:17:44 through 1:20:02.
All right, any objection?
Which plaintiff exhibit, Your Honor?
394.
394.
Mom's friend isn't on it. She's not on it. She's not on the ball.
I think I have no objection.
All right, I'll go
I
with
think
that.
I have no
All right.
objection.
394 in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We don't even know what's going on anymore.
I say when I say I'm going to try and change X, Y, and Z thing or work on blah, 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 I can only do those things. And since I have been doing those things,
what things have you been doing?
Working on these things and not doing certain things, trying to change certain things.
crazy loophole where you just do 4 hours of work and it generates a new...
Last several times.
Hence screaming when I spilt wine accidentally on you for falling asleep, and screaming in front of my kids and freaking Jack out. And that's trying.
I would appreciate. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Johnny.
That fucked him up, you know.
I'm sorry I fucked your son up.
No, it weirded him out. He'd never...
I'm so sorry I fucked your kids up.
He didn't fuck my kids up, but it was pretty fucking weird for him, you know.
Because I jumped up and screamed at everyone. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm surprised he's... So you're going for the counselor. I'm sure that's terrifying.
I don't need your,
No, you're right. Poor kid.
your clever,
It's not against me again.
comebacks. No. You think you're controlling yourself? You think you're controlling yourself?
Your characters become so clear, especially when you use them. It's embarrassing for you. I'm going to walk away now because you're actually making me see you even worse. And believing me, I'm not going to be calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning after I've had an Ambien and think, I'm going to just fucking forgive and move on. Trust me. It is gross how you're using the kids. I've done nothing but be there for them.
How she can go from being apologizing to accusatory is indicative of the fact that the apology is insincere. It doesn't mean anything.
To then saying, don't expect me to apologize. Which basically sounds like you should be apologizing immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
This is how we know where this narcissism lies, where this ego lies, where your lies lie.
Yeah.
In that way.
Really awful for Johnny at this moment, because you can see obviously it's like
he's talking about his kids.
What happened and how his son felt about it. And like when kids are involved, well, it must be more of a pull to defend. And then she's coming back with, like you said, those little comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I put your kids up. Well, it's not really, a proper sorry, is it? You just say, if anything, twisting a knife. Like,
absolutely.
Why?
But she's trying to twist it back on things that he's done. I'm going to leave before you start trying to make me look worse. What?
Yeah.
What's he accused you of? He's just said, I don't want your smart remarks, and then reference something that you did, which you agreed with. Anyway, a couple of seconds, and then we'll wrap it up.
In a good way, and you take that for granted, fine. You're right. Meet a woman who would not jump up and scream if she'd been spilled on 3 times in a row. And I hope you're happy with whoever that is, because that would be a special kind of fucking person. No doubt.
It's you and Mr. Depp in that recording, right?
That's correct.
And you're discussing what happened in the Bahamas in December of 2015, right?
No, that's not correct. We were discussing a part of it.
You're discussing when you screamed at Mr. Depp in front of his children, correct?
No, we were talking about a part of that argument.
Including when you screamed at Mr. Depp in front of his children.
That's not a fair characterization of what happened.
What's interesting, right? It's not a fair characterization of what happened.
Yeah, not a fair characterization when she's just... isn't it great when you become a characterization of your life?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Right. So, to me, there is no way that anybody in good conscience can defend this woman, right? Because what she has done for victims, male or female, is horrible.
Absolutely
horrible.
Yeah.
Think of the amount of people, right? Think of the amount of people that have gone to jail for false accusations of rape.
Yeah.
Right. Where are the women in those accusations? Huh?
We don't have Hollywood.
Yeah. Did you also know that in some legal institutions around the world, I don't know if it's all of them, but it's definitively within the UK, a couple of others in Europe, some states of America, males can't be raped.
Yeah.
Because for the I'm trying to be candid, for that to happen, that is considered legally a sign of compliance.
Oh God. Right.
Right. So where's the equality there?
So then, yeah, essentially, because how your body works, you are condemned for it.
Exactly.
It's
It's nuts. Good morning. When are you getting out of the closet? Hi, Ben. Is she insinuating I'm gay or that you're in a closet?
I'm not sure. Maybe you could be both of me.
I mean, either way, I've been quite vocal about the fact that I'd love to go out on a date with Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye. I think that'd be I think we'd have a great time. Exactly. I think that man is an absolute joy to be around.
He brings the light into my life.
Exactly. So, dude, right, here we go. Sum it up.
Oh.
Sum it up now. Amber Heard and this whole fallout. Where's it going? What are you thinking?
I'll sum it up how I summed up.
Let me cue you in. Actually, let me cue you in.
I know what a credible source is, and this is what a credible source.
Go.
I'll just do this. More of an image reaction than it is a vocal one. Because I think even if people are just listening to this, they can imagine what I just did.
Absolutely. And for those people listening, I'm glad you've put it back away. You know,
Swing. So back at you. Go on, reaction. Final word on all of this.
Okay, so we've got okay. The man under the stairs. No, she was just saying hi. Nikki, I totally get it. We were just playing, mate. We were just playing. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So to the lady that created that video that we ripped to shreds previously, I say this: suck it.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go back to a channel and just see her reaction.
See if she's made a follow-up.
Yeah. And we should totally review it.
Do it. we just play it over and over again. Did Johnny Depp manage to prove everything? Yes. Say that again. Is Amber Heard a liar? Say that again. You know, we'll put it all together. But realistically, now we've conclusively broken down for our view, for our standpoint, for our position as conclusively as we can, being naught but two members of the ignorant public. Love you too. Thanks very much for stopping by. I owe you one free bear hug if I ever see you, or fist bump, or elbow bump. I don't know what's happening in the way of the world. I'm a hugger, so that's what I do. But absolutely right. So this now should, if anything else, have highlighted how much bias can affect judgment.
Yeah.
If nobody takes anything else away from this case, not even our videos, it should be highlighted.
Absolutely, yeah. And I hope in the ripple effect it is highlighted positively. Like I genuinely hope something good comes from this.
Agreed.
I don't want it to just be for nothing.
Agreed.
I want it to be for nothing, and imagine you want people to think it's just been entertainment. It's genuinely been about meaning something.
I don't think it's been about getting his career back. I don't think it's been about anything. I think it's been about the defamation, the attachment of this whole thing to him as a person, right?
Yeah.
Which is just madness.
There is quite a funny video I was watching earlier. It's like a cartoon of the end of the trial where the verdict is passed, and I'll send you the link later, but it's so dark.
We love a bit of dark humour.
Getting a rock tied to her legs as the judge agrees that she should be thrown into a river, and then everybody in the crowd is like, "Mate, make Pirates of the Caribbean 6. He's like, I don't want to. As they're dressing him up as Jack Sparrow and carrying him off to the set. He's going to be in Pirates of the Caribbean 6 as Jack Sparrow. My name is Johnny. It's just a dark ending to the whole matter.
There was one I saw as well that was hilarious. It was I think it was a TikTok, but it was of two babies playing. One was a boy baby, one was a girl baby, but somebody had superimposed like Johnny and Amber over know the respective babies. Now the girl baby is playing along with a toy. She puts it down. Boy baby walks up, takes the toy. Girl baby falls over, starts crying on the floor, right? Cut to further on later in that day, girl baby is leaning on a sofa, like when babies do when they first taught themselves to stand up. They kind of lean at the front of a sofa. Boy baby walks past to climb on the sofa. Girl baby falls down and starts crying within that way. I was just going to suggest reviewing Elaine's media appearance. Yeah, well, absolutely, it's on the cards.
Yeah.
It's on the cards of something that we have to do. Sorry, I feel like we have to do because I want to know more about Mum's Friend. I want to know.
Mum's Friend, a channel called Mum's Friend, just dedicated.
Mum's Friend. There was. I mean, it's not her, but somebody's found a video of like a real good lookalike of the lawyer woman in the crowd outside of like a red carpet event, waiting for Johnny to turn up and sign autographs. It's really bad. That's it. Right, guys, on that note, we're gonna love you and leave you. It's gonna be back. We're into regularly scheduled programming then at this stage, Tuesdays and Fridays as per frickin' usual. Until that time, let us know in the comments if you want to see anything further. Not from us personally. I've already got my knees out in this stream. You're not seeing anything else.
If you want to see Johnny Depp star as Mum's Friend in future Warner Bros. Productions,
I think he would do it. He's already had the Mum's Friend haircut, being Willy Wonka, right? That was the Mum's Friend haircut.
Someone needs to edit that and make it a real thing.
Right, guys, take it easy. We will talk to you next time. Bye.